The number one thing that my coaching clients obsess over is the follow-up. When to do it, what to say, which channel to use, and when to give up. So let's say that you sent a pitch, right? Maybe you've been followed up, but now you are staring at your inbox wondering whether or not you should nudge them or if you already blew it. So in this episode, I want to walk you through 5 specific approaches that you can employ after you follow up with a brand and you don't get a reply, so you can stop second guessing yourself and start getting responses. So the first approach is I'm going to call you out a little. I'm going to guess that the entirety of your follow-up strategy is saying, hey, I just wanted to circle back on this. Hey, I just wanted to bring this to the top of your inbox. I just wanted to ensure that you saw this and see if you had any questions. Are you guilty? Did you cover your hands? Because you're like, yes, Justin, I just did that the other day. That's okay. You know how I know that you did that is because I did that constantly when we were pitching brands starting out. But you have to understand, like, that is not adding any new value for the recipient. And so if you can tie it back to something the brand recently posted on their social media, I hope you turned on notifications for that brand's social media so you can stay on top of the things that they're posting, the things that are important to them. You can tie it back to a new seasonal angle for your pitch. You could say, hey, I know the last time I reached out, it was about, the spring, but now it's the summer or now it's back to school. What do you think about doing an angle around back to school? Maybe there's a trend that's blowing up right now and you know that this brand has a small team. There's no way that they could be agile enough to turn around a response. You've seen these like trending moments on TikTok especially, or Instagram or wherever. Brands would love to be able to inject themselves into the social narrative, into the zeitgeist, and do their own spin on the trend or whatever, but they just don't have the manpower. They don't have the bandwidth or the resource to actually turn something like that around. How much better of a follow-up is that if you say, hey, I don't know if you saw that this thing is blowing up right now. Here's the spin that I think your brand could do on this. And in fact, I could do it for you. Approach number 2 is to change the channel. So if you've only been interacting with this brand over email, why not switch it up to LinkedIn? Why not switch it up to, DMs on Instagram? I can't tell you how many times I have unstuck a deal because I don't know, maybe this just is me, but like when I have emails in my inbox that I know are going to require mental effort, oftentimes I will just put them into a folder where I know I need to get to, but every time I look at that email, I'm like, oh God, I gotta think about how I want to respond to this person. It just feels like this big task. And yet you see the brand contact, you see your person active on Instagram stories, or you see them active, they're posting on LinkedIn or whatever. Somehow I have found if you can engage with that person in a different channel that's not their work inbox, which again feels heavy, you may be able to get a response immediately. I can't tell you how many times I've done this where I've sent a voice note to my contact through the LinkedIn mobile app, and they respond to me within like 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever. I don't know what it is. It's kind of like the expectation or the kind of the dynamics on social media. I feel like sometimes you might be able to just like, oh yeah, you hear back from them like, oh yeah, I'm so sorry. I've been meaning to get back to you. I'll for sure respond to your email this week. So the third approach is to ensure that you are following up with something very tangible. If you had pitched them something in the past that was squishy, right? And the call to action in your pitch was, would love to hop on a call to pick your brain. Would love to hop on a call to figure out how we can potentially collaborate. Again, that feels heavy to your brand contact. They may not even know you that well, and they really don't know what the best way to collaborate with you would be because again, they don't know you. They don't know about your audience, and they probably have lots of people in their DMs, in their emails trying to collaborate with them. And so if your pitch was very just this kind of amorphous blob and they really don't have any idea how to respond, perhaps your follow-up can be very, very tangible. You say, hey, this is exactly what I'm proposing to do for you. If you've read my book, Sponsor Magnet, you know that I teach something called the rope method. R is relevant. So your pitch has to be relevant to a campaign that they're either currently running or have run in the past. O stands for organic, meaning that you can tie your pitch back to organic work that you've already published that illustrates that your audience has existing affinity for their brand or for that industry. P stands for proof, so you can show how you've helped other brands achieve results. And E stands for easy to execute. When they get this pitch and it's like, oh, I can clearly see how we can bring this to life. And so if you did not do that, the rope pitch in your initial outreach, have that be the focus of your follow-up. So you say, hey, I actually have a very specific idea of how I can bring, a collaboration to life for you. Boom, 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 boom. Here's how it's going to be tied to a business objective that you're trying to accomplish. And here's exactly what I'm proposing. I'm going to do 3 Instagram reels. I'm going to do 2 newsletter blasts. I'm going to give you usage rights through the end of the year. Are you free on Thursday at 10 a.m. to talk about this? That is such an easier message to respond to, because now they're able to say, okay, I have some form around how this creator is trying to collaborate with us. That's not actually a platform that we're activating on right now. So that's okay. Let me respond to this person, but I love the initiative here. Now that I know that they, there's something behind, there's like, there's a there. Let me respond, maybe hop on a call and pitch them something else. Hey, can you activate on this other platform? That's the priority for us right now. But again, the point is that you gave them something tangible that they could react to. Just a quick commercial break from a slightly different angle in the car. If you're watching this video or listening to this episode and thinking, Justin, I have a massive opportunity. I sent a proposal to the brand, but they refused to get back to me. I need your help. I need your team's help. I don't know what to do in this scenario. This is very high stakes. You should get on a call with our team. We have a coaching program. It's called Wizards Guild. We help you with your pitches, with your pricing, with your negotiations, with your packages, your proposals, the whole 9 yards. And the coolest part is that we do not take a cut of your deals. So unlike management or agencies or brokers, we're not taking anywhere from 20 to 50% of your brand deal revenue. It's a flat investment to work with our team for the year. So if that's interesting to you, click the link in the description box or go to wizardsguild.com, jump on a call with our team and see if it's the right fit for you. So perch number 4 is to offer something unexpected. One thing that I did with great success over the years for both my wife and I personally, for the deals that that we were forging, but also when I ran an ad agency for 7 years, would be to, for example, offer a lunch and learn. Hey, I would love to offer to come into your brand's office or your agency's office. I'll cater lunch, I'll cater coffee and desserts or whatever. And I would love to share what we are seeing on the ground as creators, what's being effective on YouTube right now, what's effective on social media. Can you gather, 10, 15 people on your brand team or on the agency team to do this lunch and learn with us? If you're not quite brave to do something like that, why couldn't you do it virtually? You could do this over Zoom. You could, if they work in an office, you could get it, DoorDashed or Uber Eats or catered to their office. So everyone has their coffee and they're all on Zoom and you're kind of doing the same thing. Now, I may say this and you think to yourself, Justin, I am not an expert in this stuff. I am not an expert in social trends or whatever. I know you ran an agency, but I'm little old me over here. I just have my social platform. You would be surprised. You know how rarely brands and agencies get the opportunity to have a discussion with an actual creator that is on the ground. They have their finger on the pulse of what's happening in social media. Remember, these brands are not posting and publishing and creating at the cadence, at the quality that you are. Believe me, trust me, they are not. And so you understand, what the audience's appetites are, especially if you are in a hyper-focused niche. You better believe that these brands, that these agencies are going to look at you as an unbelievable market research source. So it's not just about the fact that you're a creator. It's that you are constantly having dialogue with your audience, which, by the way, is their ideal customer. And so by offering this to them, because again, these brands are not going to come to you and be like, hey, will you do a lunch and learn for us and tell us all your secrets? It's kind of thing. No, it's going to take you reaching out to them and proposing this idea. Right. And so, again, I know I'm kind of harping on the lunch and learn angle here, but it doesn't just have to be that. Maybe it's something as simple as you saw some posts that they made recently and that maybe that's not the best angle, or if they slightly changed up the hook or they slightly changed up the approach of that content, it actually could perform much better. Don't you think that they would appreciate you reaching out and offering some guidance? Hey, I saw this series that you're doing right now. I think with just a couple tweaks, you could really improve that. And guess what? By the way, I actually could create some content in a similar vein that you could post on your platforms. I see that this series is important to you. There's so many brands right now that are really seeing the value, for example, in long form YouTube content, because that helps with SEO. It helps with GEO, generative engine optimization, showing up at the top of, ChatGPT and Claude and, Perplexity and those, how do you get recommended as a brand in the top 5 of when someone's searching for a solution to their problem or whatever? Content is a big way in which these brands understand now. And so they're not only trying to tackle their own content strategy on a platform like YouTube, but how can they hire creators to enrich their content with metadata that again will help propel their brand up those LLM rankings. So again, if you may be listening to this kind of like offering them something interesting or unique and think, again, Justin, I am not an expert in this. Well, guess what? It's time to educate yourself. It's time to start learning how these platforms work. It's time to start learning how brands are creating content themselves on their own channels, on their own YouTube channel. How do they think about content strategy? What's the purposes behind that? Is it just awareness? Are they trying to like drive leads from this content? Because again, you are an expert at creating content. That's what you do day in and day out. And so if you can give them some free game, so many people are like worried about giving free game to brands. Right? Oh, I'm going to give them all these ideas and they're just going to take it, they're just going to steal it from me and take it, take it and run. Yeah, of course that's possible. But the more likely scenario is they're going to hire you. They're going to be like, hey, this person seems like they know what they're doing. Let's either hire them for consulting or let's hire them to help us create the content. Now, the fifth approach is knowing when to throw in the towel. So, my rule of thumb, my best practice for following up is at least 3 or 4 follow-ups without hearing back from the brand. Wow, that's crazy. Could you set that as a goal? To follow up with the brand 3 or 4 times before they actually get back to you. True story. This just happened to me. I went to an in-person event with a brand, and I pitched them this really comprehensive, I put together a post-campaign report for them, and I put together some ideas of how we could collaborate, kind of run it back and do future partnership. And I sent this beautiful proposal. They said, thank you so much. This is amazing. No one's ever done this before, with us. We just need some time to kind of chat through this as a team, and we'll get back to you. I had to follow up 3 times for them to finally respond and be like, yes, let's hop on a call. And I literally proposed a time today. And the reason why they were so busy is they had 2 or 3 back-to-back very high profile events that they were organizing. And this was the agency. And so it wasn't malicious. It wasn't like they were purposely ignoring me. It's just that they had so much else on their plate. And so if I just gave up after that first follow-up, if I gave up after that second follow-up, I wouldn't be hopping on a phone call with the brand next week. Right. And so instead of internalizing the silence, instead of thinking like, oh, this brand hates me, I guess they don't want to work with me because if they did, they'd get back to me. No, that's not the case at all. They're just busy. But there is a time when you need to think, okay, maybe I need to let this contact rest. Maybe I need to just let it breathe for a couple months. I'm going to throw the towel in temporarily. It's not forever. It's not no forever. It's just not yet. This brand is not in the right mindset. They don't have the right budget. They don't have the right priorities. They don't have the right team in place to, manage this relationship. There's any number of reasons why they just might not be ready. And it's a real thing that for whatever reason, this brand is not ready to collaborate with you. And so, you need to put them on some sort of circle back, status in your, pitch kind of CRM or however you're managing these things, and then circle back with them next quarter. There's so many brands, there's so many partnerships that my wife and I have forged over the years where we just realized, if for whatever reason it seems like we need to pump the brakes here, this brand is not into it. But again, we're not going to abandon it forever. Because again, it's not no, it's not yet. I think the most important mindset that you have to have when it comes to follow-ups is that you are not annoying them. You're not begging. You are doing them a service by following up. Because remember, they are busy. A lot of these times, these brand contacts or the people that work at these agencies, they have so much on their plate. They may not just be doing influencer or creator partnerships. They're doing a bunch of different things. They're running the pay-per-click ads on Google. They're running YouTube, TrueView ads. They're doing print ads and magazines, billboards, bus benches, other social media activations, whatever. They're doing a lot. And so you're actually doing them a service by staying top of mind, by staying on their radar, unless the brand says to you, never email us again, which they're not going to do. And even if they do, fine. Okay, fine. I'm sorry. I guess it's not going to be a good fit. But in almost all circumstances, you are not annoying them. You are doing them a service by being, friendly. Is friendly a word? You are in a very friendly manner, just staying top of mind. And believe me, I can't tell you how many brands have said, thank you so much for being so persistent. I've just been so busy. But yes, great. Let's hop on a call. So we talked a lot in this episode about what to do when a brand goes quiet. But if you're still thinking, Justin, I need some help on the initial pitch. I know you talked about it a little bit, but can you go deeper? Well, check out this episode right here.